Hey guys, before I start, oh, this is my cat Griff. She's a little squeamish. She's my desk dweller. You can't hear her, but she's purring up a storm. Here you go. Alright. I want to start this video off actually with a question. The question is, do you read, actually it's two questions. Do you read more than one book at the same time? And if so, do you find that you go through books a lot faster that way? The reason why I ask is because this month has been marred by the buddy read. I started reading the buddy read early. We're starting it in June, and we have a Goodreads group that you can join, and we can make it in. There's 3 of us, as I mentioned in an earlier video. If you want to join, make it more of a group read, then you're more than welcome. It's The Way of Kings by Sanderson, and I started early mostly because I'm a slow reader. We decided to read one part a month. One part a month. One part a week. Some of these parts go like 200-300 pages. So I'm about that far away. And during the month I've been reading other books as well. And I was just wondering before starting this video if that actually speeds things up. I mean, the reason why I'm reading other books other than this is because I don't want to just read one thing, but I want to be reading The Way of Kings a little bit faster than I am. So if you want, please ask away down there, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And alright, this is my May wrap up. I'm doing it a little bit early, mostly because I didn't get all that much reading done this month. If you see me looking down here, I got some notes that I'm checking out. And also I want to discuss a little personal victory that I want to kind of keep a dialogue on, maybe on this channel, because there's no real other venue I really want to discuss it. And so I'll get to that. I'll put that at the end because it's personal. It doesn't really have anything to do with books. I'll keep that at the end so you can skip it if you wish. Alright, so as I said, I didn't read much. Mostly it was with this monster, Way of Kings. And so far I'm really liking it, but I'm going to keep that for the video that we're all planning on doing, chronicling our read of the book. And you know, getting into this really rekindled my my love for epic fantasy. I used to read it all the time when I was younger, and I stopped. I don't know why I stopped. I just wasn't in the mood for it anymore, and so I just kept avoiding it, I guess. And then one night at work, I was just sitting there when, like a punch to the face, I got hit with this terrible craving to read Sanderson's The Way of Kings, and this has really led me down a rabbit hole, a good one, of checking out all the epic fantasy series that have come out since, and there's a ton, like books by Michael J. Sullivan. I think I might check that out first. There's also Michael Weishart, I think his name is, The White Tower. It's a brand spanking new series. First book is out, which is The White Tower. I'm thinking of maybe checking that one out on audio. I'm not too sure. My credit comes in, I think, today, and I'm almost done what I'm listening to now, so I really need to figure out what I'm going to use that credit on. Anyways, so there's a lot of books I want to read, just more to the mountain of books that I want to read. It's never ending, it seems, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have, really. It'd be better than not wanting to read anything. I've been there. Good old reading slumps suck. Alright, so something else that happened this month is I got my contributor copy for the C.H.U.D Lives. Ooh, this is by Crystal Lake Publishing. Crystal Lake Publishing, they are a fantastic publisher of horror and dark fiction, and I suggest you go check them out. This isn't the only book, obviously, that they put out. They've been publishing since 2012, and they published a lot of huge names in horror, including including Clive Barker, Ramsey Campbell, Mercedes Murdoch Yardley. You know, I joke around on the podcast that I do, Darkness Dwells, that they've pretty much published everyone in the horror field but Stephen King and Joe Hill. And that's not very far off the mark. You know, it's a joke when I say it, but it's kind of true. And so, yeah, C.H.U.D lives, and my name is actually on the cover, right there, Jay White. Don't know if you can see that. There we go, Jay White. And my story in here is called Dweller Messiah. And so definitely check that out if you get the chance. One thing I did read this month was John Steakley? Good name, by the way, for a vampire novel. And his novel, Vampires. Now this book, it's a strange book because I don't know what to think of it. It starts off, the very beginning is Jack Crow is like he's a vampire killer, he's a vampire hunter, and he in the very first chapter he pretty much loses the entire team that he's with. They die in a bad ambush, you could say. After they think they were victorious, they weren't, and they're all partying. There's a lot of drinking in this book. It's crazy. And so they get ambushed while they're in that motel, and they all get wiped out, except for Jack, of course. And I'm pretty sure he's the lone survivor. Anyways, that's not what's confusing. The confusing part is, okay, these are badass type characters. Jack Crow's badass. You know that he's not going to be... He's going to be touched by that kind of thing, but at the same time, he's going to hide it. But in a book, you can usually show the pain, if you know what I mean, of losing friends, comrades, brothers in arms. And the author kind of misses that. In fact, the whole book sort of misses any real deep character development. Now, Vampires is a fun, shoot 'em up type western in modern times with vampires. So you got to take it with a grain of salt anyway, but I think maybe a little more character might have been a bit better in this book. And also, the book comes across as like liberal-minded in a sense, and yet it's very sexist to a degree. I mean, you do have women fighting alongside the men, but there's if you read the book, maybe you'd know what I mean. Maybe I'm missing the point, I don't know. But it's a very strange book, and also, but I did like it, don't get me wrong, I liked it, it's fun. And it's also, John Carpenter adapted it into Vampires, John Carpenter's Vampires, and that movie got a lot of really bad reviews. You gotta take that movie with a grain of salt too. It's just a lot of fun. It's not a great movie by any means, but it was made to be fun, and it's kind of fun watching it. I think if you go in with that mindset, instead of thinking that you might get scared, you're not going to get scared. It's more of an action film, right? Same with the book. The book is more of an action than a horror, an action adventure, maybe. I would probably give it 3.5 stars. And as I reviewed earlier in the month, I finished Hieroglyphs of Blood and Bone by Michael Griffin. Excellent story, very literary, very strange, weird fiction, and I highly recommend that if you like weird fiction and you like literary. This could easily fit into more of a classic, it really had a classic overtone in my opinion. You can check out my video, if I remember, I'll stick it in the notes too, or my review that I did on that. And I think that's it for the reading. I did a couple hauls. I posted videos about that, and the library haul was a big surprise. I like that. There was actually going to be another haul, but we ended up not going, and that is unfortunate. It's going to be a used bookstore, but before I get into the personal thing, I want to discuss my plans for the month. My to be read is very often, I usually don't always follow it. In fact, I hardly ever do follow it. I always have plans of books I want to read, and then I just don't read them because I get excited about something else, and then I dive into that, and it's never-ending cycle of terror. Anyways, so I got these books from a haul earlier in the month from Amazon, and I definitely want to get to this one. It's a horror story that takes place during the Civil War, and that's all you need to know, in my opinion. It's by an author named Philip Fracassi, and if you haven't checked out anything by him, I highly suggest it. He's a fantastic writer. He keeps you on the edge of your seat, and there's no you can't exaggerate that, because it's just so there, that anxiety you feel while reading his stories. And hopefully I'll also be able to get to Whispers by Christian Dearborn. They're both very short, both novellas, very, very short. Hopefully I can read them while tackling Way of Kings. And I will let you guys know if I do, and how good they are, or if they're even good. Alright, so the personal thing, personal victory, I guess you could call it. While I was in the most weirdest place, I found... Actually, let me back up. I've had issues with my weight for a very long time. I remember when I had to get my adenoids taken out and my tonsils. The doctor said that I might start losing weight. Anyways, the doctor said I might start not losing weight, but gaining weight with the removal, especially of the adenoids. I don't know why that was, but he was right. Jesus Christ, was he right. I was like 10 when I had them removed, maybe 9, and ever since then I've been chunky. I was skinnier than anything when I was a kid, below the age of 10. In fact, there were people who thought that my mom wasn't feeding me. I was so skinny. But then I got those removed and I started to gain weight, and it's been a battle ever since. And when I was 16, I lost like 60 pounds, but through rigorous dieting and exercising, which I hated all of it. And so when that stopped, I gained a bit of weight. I was a smoker for a long time, and when I quit smoking, I started putting on the pounds. And that led me to where I ended up being close to 300 pounds. And I was at that stage when I first started this channel. 300 pounds, 293 to be exact. And since then, I was watching BookTube, and I was watching Clifford Sargent, I think his name is. I'm pretty sure that's his name. It's Better Than Food. Books are better than food is the basic premise of his channel. And he covers a lot of classic literature, especially the depressing and dark type of classic literature. And he was talking how he deals, in one of his videos, how he deals with all the dark and depressing material that he reads and reviews for his channel. And in it, he was talking about how diet played a huge role, and getting enough sleep in order to not only consume difficult pieces written, with complexity, but also heavy themes. And he said it's essential to eat correctly and to get enough sleep, and to have other things in your life that aren't so bleak. And so he started talking about this keto diet, and I was like, what the hell is the keto diet? So I looked it up, because just him talking about how much better he was feeling and all that on this keto diet, I thought I would check it up. And basically a lot of people compare it to the Atkins diet, but I wouldn't do that. If you do the keto diet correctly, in my opinion anyway, basically what you're doing is you're getting rid of all the carbs, all the sugars, and everything that's processed. Get rid of that. Eat a lot of vegetables and eat a lot of meat. So basically what you want to do is raise your healthy fats when you're consuming foods. You want moderate amount of protein and a very low amount of sugars and carbohydrates and all that crap that you really don't need. The way I look at it, and the way I've seen some professional dietitians and whatnot and doctors talk about it, is you're basically you're reverting back to the way we used to eat before making factories in order to process our food became a thing. In a sense, it's become a necessity because there's so many of us, so many people in the world. How do you feed them all? It's almost impossible to feed them with whole foods, but eating whole foods is the way we're meant to eat. And so that is a choice you can make, and I've made it, and in 1 month I've lost up to 22 pounds, and I'm not eating less. I am not really. Maybe my portions are a bit smaller. I don't eat as often either, but what happens is you stop once you get what they call get into the state of ketosis, or into the state where your body starts using fat instead of sugar to burn for fuel. You stop getting hungry all the time, and you stop craving terrible things. Like I used to crave beer. I used to crave cereal. Cereal is a bad one. I was a cereal addict, man. If there was like a 3-step program to get me to stop eating cereal, milk and cereal, I would have had to have joined it. I just loved cereal. But in that month, I've gone through ups and downs. Mostly the downs had to do with what they like to call the keto flu. And this is basically your body adjusting to burning the fat instead of sugar, because at first your body does not want to do that. It wants to continue. You've been using sugar for fuel for so long, in pretty much my entire life. So now you're teaching it to burn fat instead. It's like, what the hell, man? You're giving me all this awesome stuff, and now I have to use this? But you know what? The diet itself is okay. It tastes great. I mean, I don't mind eating vegetables. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but until I looked into that little thing called ketosis, or the keto diet, I had no idea how to do it. But this really taught me how to do it, and it's working. And as an example, this shirt, Mr. Edgar Allan Poe, I haven't been able to wear in like 5 or 6 years. It's a double extra large, and for the longest time I had to wear triple extra large, and I was sort of getting into the territory where I had to move it up to 4 extra large, and that's humiliating. I remember I used to work at a place. I used to work a long time ago at night with the Walmart crew. I was cleaning the joint, and while we were in the men's section, they would have like 5 extra large shirts, and they would be like pointing at it, making fun of it. I never did, because I was always a bigger guy anyway. I don't really think making fun of people who can't help the way they are is very fair. But typical dudes, they would point at that shirt and make fun of it, and I'm glad I didn't make fun of it, because I was slowly approaching that myself. And now I'm starting to slim again. I can wear this shirt again, and hopefully I can wear better shirts. You know how difficult it is to buy really big shirts? It's impossible. If you like bands, like I like bands, you go to their websites and you're like, oh cool, they have shirts. I want to buy one, and you go to buy one, and they only go up to double extra large. There's bigger people out there. You gotta, or they sell out really quick, the really big ones, because they don't make as many of them. So that's my little victory. I'm planning on sticking to this diet because the only issue I had really was the keto flu, the symptoms. Basically, the symptoms are you feel sick. You don't feel like you're gonna, well, actually there's a couple times where I felt like I was gonna Ralph, but mostly when you get like a bad cold or you get the stomach flu, you kind of feel like that for a little while. And for me, it was like 2-3 weeks. It was horrible, and I thought it was never going to end. But I'm pretty sure I've passed that hump now, and I'm pretty sure that I'm fat adapted, as I call it. And I'll put some links down there in case you're interested in signing it up. I think honestly, you need to be ready for it though. The only reason why I was able to adapt to it so easily is because I've been needing to do this for a long time. I don't care necessarily about my looks, it's more my health. And my health was dwindling, man. I was getting sick all the time, and I was afraid that, it was all going to end soon, to be honest with you. And now it's like I got a new lease on life, and I can't be happier. Alright folks, thanks for listening and watching. I'm used to saying thanks for listening because of the podcast. So please subscribe, like the video, and leave me a comment, and we will see you soon. I got a couple of tags that Svetlana, I think her name is. She commented on one of my videos and requested me to do 2 tags. I'm gonna do those, and thank you, Svetlana. I don't know if I'm butchering your name or not, and if I am, make a video. Tell me how to pronounce your name. Actually, you do have some videos. I could probably just look that up myself, but I've been terribly busy, and I'm lucky that I've gotten the time to do this video. All right, thanks everyone, and we will see you very shortly.